and could hold the media to account, but also on a broader level could sort of analyze the entire picture of how Muslims and Islam were being presented in the news, particularly in the British media and on a sort of wider scale in the Western media. Because, I mean, there's been academic studies for many, many years which have shown that there is a particular bias against Muslims and Islam. And there's the whole sort of post 9/11 environment where there was more sort of interest in Muslims and Islam and in terms of what they practice, how they dress, women's rights, all of those kind of topics.
Right.
But were these guys who were supposed to be telling people the truth, were they getting these things right? And so that's what the Center for Media Monitoring was sort of set up. And when I joined, and I was actually the first person who joined the organization, my role was to essentially read and watch the news, try and see whether the coverage was factual, or was there an element of misreporting in any of the news reports. So what I did was create a methodology to enable us to sort of analyze and assess that coverage in a very sort of methodological and systematic way. And on the back of that, we were able to produce some really serious and detailed reports on different issues. To do, for example, we did a massive 2-year study on Muslims and Islam, which has been referenced quite widely and even been mentioned in the UK Parliament. We also, in the first month of the quote unquote the conflict post October the 7th, we did a report looking at the first month's coverage across the British media, which was the precursor to the report we're going to be speaking about today, to get a sort of entire picture of what's taking place and how the British media is reporting on things that not only on Muslims and Islam, but things that matter to Muslims and Islam, which our topic today quite clearly does.
Okay. Faisal, you published a report called BBC on Gaza, One Story, Double Standards. Before we look at your findings, can you tell me a little bit about the role BBC plays in British society? How reliable is it considered? I mean, it's called auntie by members of British society. Can you explain sort of its historical reputation and perhaps how it's perceived today?